Keanu Reeves, the unassuming Hollywood star, was leisurely driving along the tranquil stretches of Boulder Highway on a calm Las Vegas afternoon. Dressed in his usual low-key attire, he was a stark contrast to the glamorous persona often captured by the cameras. For Keanu, this drive was intended as a simple escape from the spotlight, a brief pause in an otherwise hectic life. However, his solitude was suddenly disrupted when he noticed a young boy alone, pedaling a small bike along the expansive avenue. This unexpected sight was not only out of place, but marked the beginning of an extraordinary day that would challenge Keanu in ways no script ever could. Before we delve deeper into this compelling narrative, let us know where you're watching from. If tales of unexpected heroism and dramatic turns pique your interest, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. What unfolds next on this serene highway is a gripping story of bravery and suspense that you won't want to miss. The deep growl of the Norton Commando 750 softly echoed down Boulder Highway, blending with the distant hum of passing car engines. Keanu Reeves slightly adjusted his posture on the motorcycle, enjoying the warm desert breeze against his face. The charity event that evening had been a success, a fundraiser for underprivileged children. Now, as he drove away from the center of Las Vegas, he felt relieved to finally have a moment of peace. The traffic on the strip was hellish, which is why he had taken this alternative route. Boulder Highway was not the safest, especially at dusk, but there were still a few cars on the road, their headlights slicing through the growing twilight. Heavy trucks passed in a steady rhythm, followed by some worn sedans and pickups. That's when Keanu saw something that made his stomach turn. On the shoulder, a little blonde boy, no more than 6 years old, was slowly pedaling a small red bicycle. He wore a blue t-shirt with a yellow dinosaur stamped on the chest, denim shorts, and worn sneakers. He didn't seem to be having fun or just playing. He looked lost and scared. Keanu frowned. What was such a small child doing alone on this dangerous road? He slowed down, feeling adrenaline beginning to rise. The few cars that passed didn't seem to notice the boy, simply overtaking him without a care. This deeply bothered him. The motorcycle's engine rumbled lower as Keanu maneuvered to the shoulder, ensuring he wouldn't disrupt the flow of traffic. As soon as he turned off the bike, the silence seemed even more intense, broken only by the distant noise of cars passing on the road. Keanu slowly removed his helmet, revealing dark hair tousled by the wind, his eyes fixed on the boy who still hadn't noticed his presence. "Hey, little guy, are you okay?" The boy immediately stopped pedaling, his body stiffened. He turned his head slowly towards Keanu, his eyes wide and full of fear. Keanu kept a relaxed posture but slightly raised his hands, signaling he was no threat. "There's no need to be afraid. I just want to know if you're okay." The boy didn't respond. He gripped the handlebars tightly, his little fingers clutching the plastic of the brake lever as if ready to flee. His light blue eyes kept moving, looking at the road, then behind him, as if he were expecting something or someone to appear at any moment. Keanu felt an alarm rise up his spine. What was this boy running from? "Are you lost?" The boy remained silent, but his eyes began to glisten with held-back tears. He blinked quickly, trying to hold back the crying, but a tear rolled down his cheek. Keanu felt a tightness in his chest. He had seen many things in the world, but nothing hurt more than seeing a frightened and alone child. "Hey, it's okay. You can tell me what happened." The little boy bit his lip and gripped the handlebar tightly. Then he broke down completely. A sob escaped, then another, and suddenly he was crying openly on the shoulder. Keanu stood still for a moment, feeling the weight of the scene in front of him. What in the world was going on, and more importantly, what was he so afraid of? Keanu watched as the boy cried, feeling a tightness in his chest. Something was very wrong. He quickly glanced at the road. Cars were still passing by, some speeding, others moving at a slower pace, but none of the drivers seemed to notice the little boy on the shoulder. Taking a deep breath, Keanu got off his motorcycle and took a cautious step forward, keeping his voice calm. "Hey, buddy, no need to cry. I'm here to help, okay?" The boy tried to speak, but his voice was drowned out by his sobs. He rubbed his small hands over his face, trying to wipe away the tears, but they kept falling. Keanu looked around. There was no adult in sight, no parked cars, no one calling for the boy. A chill ran down his spine. Kneeling beside the bicycle, Keanu kept a safe distance, not wanting to overwhelm the kid. "What's your name?" he asked gently. The boy sniffled and finally managed to say something, his voice trembling and soft. "Liam." Keanu gave him a small, reassuring smile. "Hey, Liam. I'm Keanu. Everything's going to be okay, all right? Did you get lost? Where's your mom or dad?" Liam quickly looked toward the road, then glanced behind him as if he was afraid something or someone was still nearby. He opened his mouth, hesitated, and then whispered something barely audible. Keanu leaned in slightly. "What was that, buddy?" Liam took a deep breath and looked Keanu straight in the eyes. "I'm running away." Keanu felt his stomach knot. Running away from who, Liam? The boy bit his lip and looked at the road again, his tiny fingers gripping the handlebars of his bike so tightly that his knuckles turned white. He blinked a few times as if trying to build up the courage to speak. "A man. He tried to take me." Keanu's heartbeat sped up, his senses went on high alert. He straightened his posture, scanning the area. "What man, Liam? Was he in a car?" Liam swallowed hard and whispered, "Yeah, a black car." Keanu took a deep breath. This changed everything. If a stranger had tried to grab Liam, he couldn't just leave him there alone. "Liam, listen. Do you know where your house is? Is it far?" The boy shook his head. "I was just riding my bike for a little while, and then the car stopped. He opened the door and told me to get in, but I pedaled fast and got away." Keanu felt a chill down his spine. "Did you see his face?" Liam shook his head again. He was wearing a hat and sunglasses. Keanu ran a hand over his chin, thinking fast. He didn't know if the man in the black car was still around, but if someone was cruising this area trying to snatch kids, this was serious. He looked back at Liam. The boy was still trembling, clutching his bike as if it were his only protection in the world. Keanu knew what he had to do. "Let's get out of here, okay? You can ride with me on my motorcycle. We'll find a safe place and call your mom or dad." Liam hesitated for a moment, but then let go of the handlebars and took Keanu's hand. Keanu felt the cold, sweaty grip of the boy's small hand and realized just how terrified he was. "It's going to be all right, buddy. We'll figure this out." He led Liam toward the motorcycle and helped him get on the back, still unsure of what they were about to face. But he knew one thing for sure. He couldn't just leave and pretend nothing had happened. Keanu now knows there's a man in a black car trying to take kids. What should he do next? The engine of the Norton Commando 750 rumbled as Keanu smoothly accelerated, merging back onto Boulder Highway. The traffic wasn't heavy, but cars were still passing consistently, headlights cutting through the fading sunlight as evening settled over the city. Keanu didn't want to take any chances. He needed to call the police, but first, he had to make sure Liam was somewhere safe. "You doing okay back there, buddy?" Keanu asked, keeping his voice steady and reassuring. Liam gave a small nod, though his grip on Keanu's jacket remained tight. "Yeah," he murmured softly. Keanu glanced quickly at the side mirror. No black car in sight. Still, his instincts told him they shouldn't stay on the road for long. He sped up slightly, scanning for a safe place to pull over. Up ahead, he spotted a gas station, an older one with a small convenience store attached. The parking lot had a few cars, customers going in and out. Perfect spot. He slowed down and pulled into the lot, stopping near the gas pumps. "Let's take a break here, all right?" he said, cutting the engine. Liam let out a small breath, as if relieved to stop moving. Keanu helped him off the bike, placing a reassuring hand on the boy's shoulder as he looked around. The place seemed calm. Now he just needed to call the police. Reaching into his jacket pocket, he pulled out his phone and quickly dialed. As the call rang, he knelt beside Liam. "Do you know your home phone number? Your mom or dad's number?" Liam thought for a moment and then nodded. "I know my mom's." Before Keanu could ask him to say it, the call connected. 911. "What's your emergency?" Keanu kept his voice firm and direct. "Hey, my name is Keanu Reeves. I'm on Boulder Highway, stopped at a gas station with a young boy named Liam. He was alone on the road and mentioned that a man in a black car attempted to take him. I believe you need to send someone here." There was a brief pause on the other end. "Wait, did you say Keanu Reeves, the actor?" Keanu closed his eyes for a moment. Yes, but that's not important right now. We need help here. The dispatcher quickly refocused. Understood, Mr. Reeves. We're dispatching a unit to your location. Can you stay with the child and ensure he remains safe until the officers arrive? Yes, I've got him. We'll wait inside the store. All right, officers will be there shortly. Keanu hung up and put his phone away. The police are coming, buddy. You're safe now. Liam nodded slowly, but his eyes still showed fear. Keanu could tell the boy needed something to calm him down. Do you want a juice, or maybe something to eat? Liam hesitated, then whispered, okay. Keanu gave him a small smile and ruffled his messy blonde hair. All right, my treat. Let's go. They walked into the convenience store, which was bright and smelled of fresh coffee. A cashier behind the counter glanced at Keanu with a flicker of recognition in his eyes, but said nothing, which Keanu appreciated. He led Liam to the refrigerator section and pulled out an orange juice. Is this one good? The boy nodded. Keanu grabbed a pack of cookies, then carried both to the counter. The cashier rang up the items and smiled politely. Nice bike you got out there. Keanu returned the smile. Thanks, man. He paid and handed the juice and cookies to Liam, who took them with a quiet thank you. As they stepped back outside, Keanu instinctively glanced toward the highway. Nothing seemed out of place, but his instincts told him something still wasn't right. Then a black car passed by on the road, not too slow, not too fast, just blending into traffic. Keanu felt Liam tense beside him, the boy's small shoulders going rigid as he glanced at the car, then quickly looked away. Keanu wasn't sure if it was the same car Liam had mentioned, but now he was on high alert. Keanu called the police and ensured Liam was safe, but now a black car just passed by on the highway. Coincidence or real danger? Keanu kept his eyes on the road as the black car disappeared into the flow of traffic. He wasn't sure if it was the one Liam had mentioned, but the boy's reaction spoke volumes. Liam said nothing. He just quickly looked away and tightened his grip on the juice box in his small hands. Keanu took a deep breath. Hey, big guy, was that the car? Liam hesitated, biting his lip. After a few seconds, he slowly shook his head. It looks, but I don't know. His voice was low, almost a whisper. Keanu realized the boy was trying to be brave, but the fear was still there. He looked around the gas station. The activity continued as normal, no sign of immediate danger. Still, he couldn't let his guard down. He bent down to be eye level with Liam. Listen, the police are already on their way. You're safe now, and as soon as they get here, we're going to figure this all out together, okay? Liam nodded but didn't respond. He just bit into a cookie, trying to calm down. Keanu stayed by his side, waiting. It wasn't long before the red and blue lights reflected on the convenience store windows. The police cruiser pulled into the parking lot. 2 doors opened, and 2 officers stepped out, a man and a woman, both in standard Las Vegas police uniforms. Keanu stood up and put his hand on Liam's shoulder. There they are. Let's go, big guy. Liam looked nervous, but followed Keanu to the cruiser. The older officer, with gray hair and a stern expression, was the first to speak. Keanu Reeves? Keanu nodded. That's me. Thanks for coming so quickly. The female officer, with her brown hair in a bun, bent down to look at Liam. Hi, sweetheart. I'm Officer Carter. Your name is Liam, right? The boy hesitated but gave a slight nod. Carter smiled, trying to make him more comfortable. Can you tell me what happened? Liam looked to Keanu for support. Keanu gave a slight nod, encouraging him. Finally, the boy began to speak. I was riding my bike, then a black car stopped. The man opened the door and told me to get in, but I ran. The gray-haired officer quickly jotted down notes. Did you see what the man looked like? Can you remember anything? Liam shook his head. He was wearing a cap and sunglasses. I didn't see his face. Officer Carter looked at Keanu. And you? Did you see any suspicious car around here? Keanu pointed towards the road. A black car passed by a few minutes ago. I'm not sure if it's the Liam one, but Liam tensed up when he saw it. The officers exchanged a quick glance, as if processing the information. We've had some strange reports in the area about a black car approaching children, but nothing confirmed yet, said Carter, adjusting her belt. We'll get in touch with Liam's mother and take him home. That's when Liam suddenly looked up as if he had remembered something important. My mom. She doesn't know where I am. The officer nodded. We're going to call her now, okay? She picked up the radio on her shoulder and began to talk with the dispatch. Meanwhile, the gray-haired officer asked Liam for his mother's phone number. The boy slowly recited the number, and the officer wrote it down before dialing. The phone rang a few times until a female voice answered on the other side. Hello? The officer spoke calmly. Ma'am, this is Officer Thompson from the Las Vegas Police Department. We're with your son, Liam. He's safe. The sound of relieved crying came from the other side of the line. Oh my God, my baby. Where is he? What happened? The officer looked at Liam and smiled. He's fine. We're going to bring him home safely. Can we meet you there? Yes, I'm on my way. When the call ended, Liam exhaled deeply, as if he finally felt truly safe. Keanu gave a slight smile. See? All sorted out. Liam looked at him and, without warning, threw himself into a tight hug. Keanu was caught off guard but quickly reciprocated, feeling the boy's relief. Officer Carter smiled. I think he found a hero today. Keanu chuckled softly, ruffling Liam's hair. Keanu let out a small, relieved smile upon hearing the mother's voice. I'm just glad he's okay, Megan. He's a smart kid. He ran at the right time. The woman took a deep breath, still sounding shaken. Yes, but there's something I need to tell you. Keanu tensed. What is it? Megan hesitated for a second, then spoke quickly. I think I know who tried to take my son. Keanu's blood ran cold. What? I recognized that black car. Keanu stayed silent for a moment, feeling the tension rise in his body. Are you sure? Yes. It's passed by my house a few times. I thought it was just a coincidence, but now? She took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. It's someone from our neighborhood. Keanu tightened his grip on the bike's handlebars. If Megan was right, that meant this wasn't just some random stranger. It was someone who knew Liam's routine and had been waiting for the right moment to act. Megan, have you told the police yet? Not yet, but I can describe the car, and I think I remember part of the license plate. Keanu knew this was crucial. All right, listen to me. Call the police right now. Give them every detail you can remember, okay? I will. Stay safe, Megan, and keep Liam inside the house for now. She agreed and hung up. Keanu stood still for a moment, feeling a mix of anger and heightened awareness. If the suspect was someone from the neighborhood, that meant they might try again. And then something caught his eye. Across the street, a black car was parked. He couldn't see the driver, but the car was there, not moving, watching. Keanu slowly turned his body to face it directly. For a few seconds, nothing happened. And then, the car suddenly accelerated, merging into traffic and quickly disappearing among the other vehicles. Keanu narrowed his eyes. That wasn't a coincidence. Someone had been there, and now, he knew he had to do something about it. The suspect might be someone close to Liam's family. Keanu just spotted a black car watching from a distance. Keanu stood still for a few seconds, staring at the empty road where the black car had disappeared. He knew he could simply move on with his life. The case was now in the hands of the police. Liam was safe, but something inside him wouldn't let this story end here. How many other children might be in danger? That man, whoever he was, didn't seem like an isolated case. Keanu closed his eyes for a moment and took a deep breath. He knew what he had to do. News of Liam's case spread quickly. The fact that Keanu Reeves had helped a young boy escape a potential abduction went viral online and made it to national news. But for Keanu, this wasn't about fame. It was about doing something real. After several conversations with Megan and other parents in the neighborhood, he helped organize a child safety awareness campaign. It started small, with community meetings, but soon, local police and dozens of families joined the cause. Before long, events were being held in schools, parks, and community centers. Safety talks, workshops on teaching kids how to react in dangerous situations, the distribution of informational materials. The message was spreading. Keanu wasn't just a famous face supporting the cause. He was there, present, talking with parents and kids, listening to their stories, sharing what he had learned. Megan and Liam were always nearby. The boy, now more confident, even got up on stage during one of the events to share his story. He explained how he had followed his instincts and ran from the man in the black car, encouraging other kids to always ask for help if they ever felt unsafe. Keanu looked out at the crowd, full of parents, children, and police officers. This was it. One single action had started something much bigger. He smiled at Liam, who waved back, not as a scared little boy, but as someone who understood the importance of his story. Keanu took a deep breath. He didn't know if the man in the black car would ever be caught, but he knew that he had done his part to make the world just a little bit safer. And in the end, that was what really mattered. If you enjoyed this story, we have many more that will warm your heart. Click the screen to explore more stories of hope, compassion, and resilience. Thank you for watching. If you missed our last story, don't worry, I've got you covered. I'll leave it here for you to watch. Hope you enjoy it. Keanu Reeves, the unassuming Hollywood icon, casually strolled into a high-end suit boutique dressed in simple clothes that belied his status. For Keanu, it was just another attempt to blend in. Another ordinary day, or so it seemed. But the events about to unfold would not only challenge every preconception held by the boutique staff, but also leave an indelible mark on their professional lives. Before the story unfolds, take a moment to let us know where you're tuning in from. If you find tales of unexpected revelations compelling, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because what happens next in this saga is something you won't want to miss. The subtle chime of the doorbell rings as the glass door swings open, announcing the arrival of a new customer. The sound is nearly swallowed by the refined atmosphere of the luxury suit boutique. The store is a temple of sophistication. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light over polished mahogany shelves, and mannequins are elegantly dressed in suits that cost more than some luxury cars. The saleswoman, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, adjusts the knot of a tie on one of the mannequins while chatting with a colleague. The expensive perfume in the air, the well-dressed clientele, the hushed conversations of high-end transactions. Everything is in perfect harmony. Until he walks in. Keanu Reeves steps through the door with calm, unhurried strides, but his presence crashes against the boutique's atmosphere like a splash of red wine on a white tablecloth. He wears faded jeans, a simple gray t-shirt, and a black baseball cap, which partially hides the tousled strands of his hair. His beard is unkempt, and his sneakers bear the unmistakable marks of wear. The stark contrast between his appearance and the store's polished environment is so jarring that the saleswoman, still adjusting the mannequin, immediately frowns. Her eyes scan him from head to toe with the kind of scrutiny reserved for an uninvited guest. "Good afternoon, sir," she says, her tone artificially polite but laced with judgment. Keanu doesn't react. He simply nods and starts strolling through the store, his gaze sweeping over the suits with quiet interest. The saleswoman crosses her arms and presses her lips together, exchanging a meaningful glance with her colleague. "What is he doing here?" she mutters, just low enough for her co-worker to hear. People like him usually don't make it past the window display. The other saleswoman shrugs, suppressing a smirk. Maybe he got lost. Keanu runs his fingers over an Italian wool blazer displayed on a mannequin, admiring the fabric. The first saleswoman narrows her eyes. "I'd better assist him before he touches something he can't afford." She strides toward him with graceful, deliberate steps, though her rigid posture betrays her true feelings. "May I help you?" Her voice is polished, but there's a subtle note of disdain beneath it. Keanu turns to her with a small smile. "I'm looking for a suit." The saleswoman lets out the faintest sigh, forcing a professional smile. "I see." Her gaze once again drifts over his worn-out outfit. "Perhaps you'd prefer something more affordable. We have a discount section in the back." She gestures discreetly toward a far-off corner of the store, where basic suits are displayed far less glamorously than the premium collection surrounding them. Keanu remains calm, his soft smile unwavering. Instead of responding, he turns back to the luxurious suits, dismissing her suggestion without a word. His fingers skim over a chiton suit made of vicuña wool, feeling its softness. "This looks like a chiton," Keanu murmurs. The saleswoman blinks, caught off guard. "Yes," she replies hesitantly. "Vicuña wool," Keanu continues, assessing the fabric. extremely rare, lightweight, and one of the most expensive fibers in the world. Since vicuñas can only be sheared once every 2 years, the material becomes even more exclusive. The saleswoman frowns, visibly uncomfortable. You know about fabrics? Keanu offers a small smirk, but doesn't answer directly. He simply resumes browsing, unfazed by her reaction. The second saleswoman approaches, pulling her colleague aside and whispering, "Is he messing with you? He looks like a drifter." The first saleswoman's eyes narrow. What kind of man, dressed like that, knows about high-end suits? And more importantly, can he actually afford one? Or is he just pretending? Then Keanu stops in front of one of the most expensive suits in the store, a Brioni, custom-made with mother-of-pearl buttons and hand-stitched detailing. He holds it gently, inspecting it with care, and then says, "I'd like to try this one." A slight chill runs down the saleswoman's spine. She doesn't believe for a second that he can afford it. Forcing another tight smile, she leans slightly toward her colleague and whispers, "I'm going to keep an eye on him." She turns back to Keanu, keeping her professional demeanor, though there's an unmistakable glint of disdain in her eyes. "Of course, sir. Right this way." How will Keanu prove her suspicions wrong now? The salesperson's prejudice is much more blatant, with judgmental glances, whispered insults, and direct insinuations that Keanu doesn't belong in the boutique. The saleswoman leads Keanu to the fitting rooms, her posture perfectly upright. But no matter how much she keeps her professional facade, there's a tightness in her lips, a flicker of irritation in her eyes. She doesn't trust him, and she doesn't believe for a second that he belongs here. As Keanu follows, the other saleswoman sneaks a glance at them and smirks. "Do you think he's actually going to buy it?" she whispers, amused. The first saleswoman lets out a quiet chuckle. "Oh, please. If he could afford a suit like that, he wouldn't be dressed like a delivery guy." The two exchange a knowing look, barely containing their laughter. Keanu doesn't turn. He doesn't react. If he heard them, he gives no sign. "Here you are, sir," the saleswoman says, opening the fitting room door. Keanu steps inside without a word, taking the suit from her hands. He runs his fingers along the fine Italian fabric, feeling the texture carefully. The saleswoman crosses her arms, watching him like a hawk. She's waiting for him to slip up, for the moment he fumbles with the fit or asks something that will expose him as someone who doesn't belong in a place like this. Because men like him don't wear Brioni. They don't wear chiton. They don't even know what vicuña wool is. They wear whatever's on sale at discount stores. They don't come here. Keanu disappears into the fitting room, closing the door behind him. She won't admit it. Well, I suppose it fits," she says, her voice tense. Keanu, still composed, adjusts the lapels in front of the mirror. "Not bad," he murmurs. Then he does something unexpected. He runs his fingers down the sleeve, pressing the fabric gently between his thumb and forefinger as if testing its density. "Super 180 wool," he says casually. "Hand-stitched in Naples, right?" The saleswoman blinks. Keanu smooths the fabric, turning slightly to examine the lining. "Fully canvassed," he adds with a nod. "And the lapel roll, this wasn't machine-pressed." Now she knows something is wrong. How the hell does he know that? "You," she falters, regaining her composure. "You seem to know a lot about suits." Keanu shrugs slightly. "I like quality." She narrows her eyes, trying to regain control of the conversation. "Knowing about suits doesn't mean you can afford them," she quips. Keanu doesn't even blink. "You're right," he says smoothly, "but I wouldn't try one on if I wasn't ready to buy." For the first time, she hesitates. His tone is so calm, so self-assured. It bothers her. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves, sir," she says, folding her arms. "A suit like this is an investment. We should discuss pricing before you get too comfortable." Does she still believe he's just pretending? The silence between the saleswoman and Keanu lingers for a moment. She is still processing what just happened. This man, who in her mind shouldn't be here, standing in front of her in a flawless Brioni suit, talking about fabrics and tailoring like an expert. But instead of admitting she was wrong, she holds her ground. She can't be wrong. Arms crossed, she fakes indifference and shoots Keanu a cold look. "Well, since you seem so interested, Do you want to know the price? Keanu doesn't flinch. I already know how much it costs. The saleswoman lets out a short, mocking laugh. Oh, do you? She tilts her head slightly, crossing her arms. Then tell me, how much do you think this suit is worth? Keanu smooths out the lapels again, as if feeling every inch of the craftsmanship. Between $45,000 and $50,000, right? The saleswoman stops breathing for a second. He got it right, but she can't show her surprise. Instead, she lets out a sarcastic chuckle. And do you think it's worth that much? Keanu shrugs. Depends. Super 180s wool is excellent, but if I wanted something truly special, I'd go for a bespoke suit from a Seville Row tailor. Something more exclusive. The saleswoman swallows hard. He didn't just guess the price. He demonstrated a level of knowledge that few customers have. The second saleswoman, who had been eavesdropping from a distance, approaches, still smirking. So, has he decided how many suits he's taking? The first saleswoman forces a confident smile. We're still discussing prices. Mr. Keanu here has some strong opinions on tailoring. The second saleswoman raises an eyebrow, giving Keanu a mix of amusement and curiosity. Opinions? That's interesting, because from what I see, he doesn't look like someone who wears suits very often. The first saleswoman chuckles at the remark, playing along. True. I wonder where he learned all this. YouTube? Both of them snicker. Keanu remains calm. He has heard worse before. Fashion has always interested me, he says smoothly, and I like to understand what I'm wearing. But you know what's funny? The two saleswomen exchange glances. What? The first one asks, still trying to hold her authority in the conversation. Keanu turns back to the mirror, adjusting the sleeves of the suit as he examines himself. You talk a lot about appearance, about who looks like they have money and who doesn't, about who belongs here and who doesn't. The first saleswoman feels a slight discomfort creeping in but keeps her face composed. We simply know how to recognize our clientele. It's a matter of experience. Keanu lets out a short chuckle through his nose. I see. So you decide who gets treated like a customer and who gets treated like an outsider. The two saleswomen feel a sting of guilt but refuse to acknowledge it. It's not like that, sir, the first one says, her tone uneasy. But let's be honest, usually, people wearing old jeans and a baseball cap don't walk in here to buy a Brioni. Before Keanu can respond, a voice echoes through the store. Keanu. Everyone turns. A well-dressed man in a navy blue suit and polished leather shoes walks into the boutique with a broad smile. He looks genuinely thrilled to see Keanu. The saleswoman feels an immediate shift in the air. The man strides toward Keanu without hesitation, completely ignoring everyone else in the store. My God, man. How long has it been? What are you doing here? Keanu shakes the man's hand with ease. Checking out some suits. The saleswoman feels a chill run down her spine. She knows this client. He is a high-profile businessman, the owner of a luxury hotel chain, someone who spends thousands of dollars on custom suits regularly, and he is treating Keanu like an old friend. You two know each other? The saleswoman asks, trying to keep the nervousness out of her voice. The businessman laughs. Know each other? This guy helped me pick out my first real suit. If it weren't for him, I'd still be walking around in ill-fitted suits like an idiot. The saleswoman feels her face heat up. Really? Her voice wavers slightly. The businessman grins at Keanu, nostalgic. You still have that habit of inspecting the fabric before buying, huh? Always checking the texture, the drape. I've never met anyone who understands tailoring like you do. The sting of regret begins to settle in. She spent the entire time mocking Keanu, doubting him, laughing at him. And now, one of the store's most important clients is asking for his opinion on a suit. Her stomach twists. She has been caught in her own prejudice. Keanu gives her one last look before turning back to the businessman. Sure, let's find something that's actually worth buying. The saleswoman swallows hard and realizes she may have made a huge mistake. The familiar name the businessman uses for Keanu shocks the saleswoman. How will this revelation change her behavior toward him? The weight of the moment hangs in the air. The saleswoman, who just moments ago had been mocking Keanu, now stands in silence, unable to hide her shock. The businessman, one of the boutique's most important clients, is talking about Keanu as if he were an expert, someone who knows more about suits than she does, but she refuses to admit it. Not yet. Keanu then removes the jacket, carefully folds it, and hands it to the manager. I'll take this one. The tension in the store is still thick as the businessman pats Keanu on the shoulder, laughing. You always know how to turn the tables, huh? Keanu smirks, but his eyes remain locked on the saleswoman, who now can't say a single word. With his true identity revealed, Keanu challenges the saleswoman to change the way she treats customers. Will she accept the challenge to transform not just herself but the entire store? The store still feels tense, as if the weight of the previous moment hasn't fully lifted. The saleswoman, who just minutes ago laughed at Keanu, now stands motionless, her face pale, her mind racing. She almost lost her job, and yet Keanu spared her. But his words still echo in her mind. I want to see if she learns her lesson first. She swallows hard, stealing a glance at him. He's still standing there, calm as ever, chatting with the businessman, completely unbothered by the power shift that just took place. And that bothers her. How is he so collected? How can he be so calm after being treated like that? For the first time in a long time, she feels something she's not used to, guilt. The manager clears his throat, bringing her back to reality. Mr. Reeves, we appreciate your patience. If there's anything else we can do, Keanu raises a hand, signaling that there's no need for an apology. I think we're fine. He turns, walking slowly toward the counter where the second saleswoman stands, still looking completely stunned. He places the suit jacket down gently, running his fingers over the fabric one last time. Then he looks directly at the first saleswoman. I'd like you to handle my purchase. She freezes. Her pulse quickens. For a second, she wonders if this is some kind of test, if he's doing this just to humiliate her. But his face is neutral. He's simply watching her, waiting. The manager steps forward, attempting to intervene. Sir, we can have someone else. Keanu holds up a hand again, cutting him off. No, I want her. The saleswoman feels her hands turn clammy. She takes a slow breath, trying to regain control of herself. This is her chance to prove something, to redeem herself. Slowly, she steps behind the counter, her movements careful, measured. She reaches for the packaging materials, her hands slightly unsteady. Keanu says nothing, just watching. The second saleswoman is still silent, no longer smirking, no longer whispering remarks. She doesn't even dare to look at him now. The saleswoman carefully folds the jacket, her fingers smoothing out the fabric with a precision she hadn't used earlier. She picks up the box, placing it inside gently before reaching for the branded ribbon to wrap around it. Her heartbeat pounds in her ears. Finally, after what feels like an eternity, she closes the package and slides it across the counter. That will be $48,000, sir, she says, her voice carefully professional. Keanu nods and hands her his card. She takes it with both hands, no longer dismissive, no longer careless. She runs the transaction. The machine beeps. The receipt prints. She hands it back with both hands. For the first time that day, she looks him in the eyes, not with arrogance, not with judgment, but with respect. Thank you for your purchase, Mr. Reeves, she says. Keanu tilts his head slightly, as if observing her. For a moment, she wonders if he still sees her as the same person from before. Then, after a long pause, he nods. See? That wasn't so hard. The words sting, not because they are cruel, but because she knows he's right. She messed up. She made assumptions. She treated someone unfairly. And now, she's the one feeling small. Keanu takes the package, then pauses, looking around the store. This place has potential, he says, more to himself than to anyone else. The manager, sensing a shift in the conversation, steps forward. What do you mean, sir? Keanu turns back to him. Luxury doesn't just come from expensive materials or exclusivity. It comes from service, from how people are treated the moment they step through that door. He glances briefly at the saleswoman. She lowers her gaze, ashamed. I want this store to be known for its excellence, not just in the suits we sell, but in how we treat every customer. The manager nods firmly, understanding the message loud and clear. Absolutely, sir. We'll make sure of it. Keanu gives him a small smile, then turns to the businessman. Let's get out of here. Lunch is on me. The businessman laughs. Now that's an offer I won't refuse. As Keanu heads for the door, the saleswoman watches him go. She knows she'll never forget this day. She knows she almost ruined everything. Her job, her reputation, and worst of all, her own self-respect. As he reaches the exit, Keanu pauses one last time. He turns slightly, looking back at her. Try not to judge people too quickly next time. And with that, he walks out. The saleswoman begins to reflect on her actions and starts treating all customers with respect. But will her new convictions hold up when she faces one final test? The store feels different. Something has shifted. The air, once filled with silent judgment and quiet mockery, now carries a sense of awareness, a lesson learned. The saleswoman, who once ridiculed Keanu, now stands behind the counter with a new mindset. She won't make the same mistake again. A few days have passed since that encounter. She has spent those days rethinking everything. The way she sees people, the way she treats them. And then, today, it happens. The door chime rings. She instinctively looks up. A man walks in. He's not well dressed. His clothes are simple, slightly worn. His shoes aren't polished. His hair is messy. For a moment, her old instincts almost creep back in. The urge to judge, the assumption that he doesn't belong. But then, Keanu's words echo in her mind. Try not to judge people too quickly next time. She takes a slow breath. This is her moment of truth. The man hesitantly walks up to the suits, his fingers brushing against the fabric, his eyes filled with uncertainty. She recognizes that look. It's the same look she ignored before, the look of someone who wants to belong but fears rejection. She steps forward. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome. Can I help you find something? The man looks up, surprised. He was expecting dismissal. Instead, he's met with a genuine smile. Oh, yeah. I need a suit for an interview, he says, his voice uncertain, as if he expects her to turn him away. She doesn't. That's great. Let's find you something that makes you feel confident. The man blinks, his tension melting slightly. Really? Of course. She gestures toward the racks, not leading him to the cheapest section, but instead to a selection of well-made, respectable suits. What kind of job interview is it? Corporate? More creative? The man scratches the back of his head. It's kind of a big deal. First real opportunity I've had in a while. I want to look the part, you know? But I don't know anything about suits. She nods, understanding. That's what I'm here for. Don't worry. We'll find something that fits both you and your budget. For the first time, the man relaxes. And as she guides him through the options, she realizes something. This is what Keanu was talking about. This is luxury. Not just in fabric and price tags, but in how people are treated. And this time, she got it right.